All right. Good evening, Anissa. Thanks for being to this class. We're going to study everything. We have only two lessons left, right, to finish everything. But we also have this extra lesson that I wanted to cover. So that's what we can do today to begin. Actually, I'm going to let you decide this time, all right, which one you want to cover first. If the lesson that we have for today, that is separable phrasal verbs, or the one related to adverbs that you told me. Let me know, please, Denise.
Good evening, Jose. We want
Hi.
to finish with our program and finish this separate phrasal verbs.
Okay. All right, let's then cover this, all right? And then we can go to the extra things. This is going to be easy and fast. So let's remember, please, Anita, as we did before, please try to give me the definition of phrasal verbs and try to tell me the phrasal verbs that you will remember. It can be the phrasal verbs that we learned, all right, well, a few classes ago, or the ones that you learned by yourself. So let me know, please.
Okay. Phrasal verb is a phrase that expresses that can express complex ideas or not complex, very integrated, I guess, in just two words or three. They can be inseparable and separable phrasal verbs. Well, I know of inseparable phrasal verbs. Yes, no, separable phrasal verbs. Yes, is that something important is that you need to um, use or maintain this phrasal. I don't know. Close to the particle part if you want to use pronouns, and I think that's important. That's all.
Yes, using pronouns. That's actually one important rule we have to take advantage. Perhaps you can explain that rule better, but mentioning that they have to be close or actually inside or in between, right? These separable phrasal verbs is going to be obligatory, right? If you have a pronoun mainly, it cannot be after the phrasal verb, right? It's going to be incorrect. It has to be always in between, right? But I have one question, but perhaps you made a little mistake. You said a phrasal verb is like a phrase, right? But is this like a phrase, or is this a verb? What do you say? What is the action that it has? As a phrase or as a verb? A phrasal verb.
Of a complex verb. Because
Okay.
it's just an action, but it's not just simple. Um, they can help you with the context also.
Yes, okay, good. And also perhaps this is even going to help you because if you say they are complex, yes, because you can call them more than complex compound, right? Grammatically speaking, they are compound because they are composed, right, of two or even three parts, as you said, right? You mentioned that. But also you can sometimes see them as simple because remember, some of them can be very simple, and sometimes it's because you're not going to have an alternative to this, all right? So a piece of advice is that we don't use a lot of phrasal verbs in formal situations, right? If you want to be formal in a test, it is better to use formal words instead of phrasal verbs, right? Because phrasal verbs are informal. But sometimes, right, you don't have alternatives. As I was saying, right, remember the last time we covered this, I told you that put up with, I believe that that's the only way in which you can express that idea that is close to what you mean with put up with, right? But you have simple ones like get up or wake up that also they cannot be replaced with other accurate verbs, at least not with the exact and same meaning, right? You can have alternatives, but the meaning that they have, right, is just simple and it's going to be just like that, right? So yes, they can be complex in meaning, but sometimes they can be very simple, right? So we can have a variety as verbs, right? As usual verbs. So with that, we can answer these questions, all right? So I'm going to read them for you and you simply answer. They have to be short answers. So what is a phrasal verb? You already told me. Is a phrasal verb used as a verb? You told me, right? They can be complex, but they are verbs, okay? They are simple verbs. Now, how can you answer this? Then it's can a phrasal verb be conjugated in past or future?
Yeah, like those examples that are below. Yeah.
What examples can you give me? Because yes, you're right. They can be conjugated in any tense, but we remember, right, what I said before, and you mentioned that perhaps also before, is that not all of them are going to work out in every situation, all right, because they can be complex. But what examples can you give me, please? Try to give me one example in future using a phrasal verb and one in past. What do you say? What comes to your mind?
I think the run into is something that I think I will remember. So run, you run in past and present. Yes, those are, you can use both because have since.
Yes, and in that case, just give me one example, please, because you're right. Run into is one phrasal verb that you can easily use in past, and actually is the most common tense, right, for that phrasal verb. So, what do you say? What example do you have for me with run into?
Run into. I, uh, I know that you need to use someone, but I don't know something natural with running to right now. I run.
In past, right? If you use it in past, it can be with anything. And as you say, with someone, right? Remember the idea is related to ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, friends, family, right? Remember something that is not planned, right? So anything that comes to your mind. And in past, right? It can be, no, actually, it's very common in simple past.
I ran into an old friend from high school.
It is correct, but what else can you add? What else, what extra expression or comment can you add so that we feel that that's not part of a plan, that that's something that happened by accident? So what do you say? What extra expressions can you add to make that noticeable?
Mm. While I was, I don't know, making some, I don't know if this is an expression of making some groceries or picking groceries.
Yes, it's better if you say even there, if you do, know, it's not the same, right? Doing some shopping, but doing the groceries is better also there.
The groceries, yes.
Uh-huh. Okay, and how did you feel with that encounter? It's also very common when you say run into that you describe if it was a positive or a negative encounter, because remember, as it was not planified, you kind of express if it was, and you said, and it was not a good moment, or I felt uncomfortable, or I was happy because I saw him or her after so many years, right? Those type of extra expressions are going to help understand that first it was right by accident, or of course we said unexpectedly, or also that you have those feelings that also were of course part of something that you were not expecting. So what do you say in that case? What else can you add to make me notice that it provoked something positive or negative on you?
I ran into an old friend and I felt strange. Oh, something awkward.
Okay, yes. Yes, awkward is going to be in many cases, well, not in many cases, right? In most cases, something negative, right? To feel
Yes,
awkward with that situation. Okay,
indeed.
all right. Yes, that's one, right? In negative. Now, what about future? What phrasal verb can you think of that you can use in future? And what example can you give me? It can be one of
Mm,
those that we learned also,
oh,
or anything that you remember.
oh, um, ah, oh, I think this is, I'm not sure, but look forward is when you feel happiness or you feel happy about something, right? So I think you can use them to express something in the future.
Yes, in that
Uh,
case, also before you give me an example, that is correct. But actually, even though it expresses something about the future, it is very, very, very common to be used in present, or even it's more common in past than in future. Why?
mm,
Because as you're expressing a feeling, a present feeling, you can say that you're looking forward to seeing you in the future, but you say that in present. Okay, even though you're excited about something in the future, you're expressing a feeling in the present. Okay,
could you give me an
it's
example?
yeah. Tell me, Danit.
Could you please give me an example about why or some situation that you can express and using this phrasal verb in the future, but sounds better or is better to use them in present?
Yeah, this one, the one I'm telling you, look forward to. Look forward to is for future situations. But again, for example, imagine that you have a very important date, right, next week with someone that, again, it's very important for you. Again, you're not going to see or you're not going to say sorry at that moment. I will be looking forward to meeting you, right? No, because even though that's for a future situation, you express that in present because look forward to is to feel excited or happy about something in the future, but now. All right. Now, you can say that I will be looking forward to meeting you, but pretending that you're going to, let's say, Danitza, you're going to predict how you're going to feel in the future. And again, it is possible, but it's not that common and it's not as natural as use it in the present. Okay, the one that I have in mind, the only one that I have in mind, Danitza, is this one. Look forward in the future because it is specifically for something in the future. Also, it can be in the past to express something that you felt at the moment for something that happened. All right. And you can say, right, I was really excited about our project. I was looking forward to start with it, but then I realized that it was not possible, right? So you're even expressing something that you felt at that time, but you realize that again, it was not the case. So it's more common, I would say like 80% of the time or 70, it's going to be used in present, then it is going to be used in past, and it is only going to be used in future, even though again it refers to the future if you're going to predict your feelings. All
Mm,
right. So that's why again it's weird. It refers to the future, but is very common to use it in present most of the time. I don't know if you have questions about that.
mm, no, I understand.
All right. So what else do you have in mind? What other phrasal verbs can you use in future? And remember, sometimes the ones that are more flexible are the ones that are more simple. And we have some simple phrasal verbs. They only mean something very specific to do one action in a specific that you can do in the past, in the present, or in the future. So what do you say?
Mm, mm, come back.
Okay,
Right?
yes,
Future, past, English,
correct.
present.
Comeback is common for all those tenses, yes. So what example can you give me using it in future?
She come back to meet you. I don't know. It's like turn around.
But one more time, perhaps the pronunciation was not clear. If that is future, right, are you contracting the she plus will in that case? I couldn't hear that
No, era like era. No, it's like present, like when you are trying to relate something, and I want to say she come back.
Okay,
Like,
but also if that's present, remember something is missing. It would be, if it's simple present, you need the S of the third person, right? But also if you use
oh,
simple present, remember that's more as part of a routine. Okay, so it can be good. But again, reanalyze if that idea is going to be correct. If not, try to give me one using that one in future if it's possible.
yes, your correction was good. She will come back to meet you there. I don't know. Or just
Yes, she'll come back. She'll come back to meet you. She'll come back after, right, the meeting. She'll come back after something specific. It is correct. If you use the simple present, remember, it is correct. Of course, we need the conjugation third person, right? She comes back. But remember that if you use the simple present, you have to think of something that is repetitive, right? You can say she always comes back after lunch. So you can wait here, right, for her. So in that case, that's something that happens frequently. That's why we can use the simple present, right? Or she's coming back right now. So that's also possible. Or she came back right in past. But yes, the idea that you gave me is correct. So those are two examples, right? One related to the past and one to the future. So we can say, as you said before, that we can use them in any tense. Here, of course, we know, right? This is obvious. The correct one is going to be number one because we only conjugate the verb, right? We don't conjugate the particles, right? That's obvious. But again, it's important just in case to have it over there. Now, I want to know which ones of these, all right, or which of these, sorry, phrasal verbs you remember, Danitza. They were part of the list of phrasal verbs, and they are inseparable phrasal verbs. All right. So what do you say? What can you tell me about the six of them? Try to give me the definition of the ones you remember or the ones you know.
okay. Go on is something like when you want to cheer up someone to move forward, something like that.
All right. If you, well, one question over there. Is it specifically to cheer someone up when you say go on? Or it can be used in a literal way to say, right, you are saying something, I stop you, and I say, no, please go on, right?
Also,
So that one as well, right? And which one do you think is more common? Because I would say that to cheer right someone up is going to be not a specific case, at least not as specific, right? Because if you say the life or the show goes on, right, or the show must go on,
oh
for
yeah.
example, that's part of a phrase, right? That's part of an idiom. And in that case, yes, right? It's a way of saying, yes, life has to continue, so you have to go on. But it is only because it is part of an idiom or a very specific saying, right? But if it's not, it's going to be used 80% or more of the time just as a literal way to say continue, right? I just want to add that because you're right, it is continue, but it is not commonly used to say this to cheer someone up, only if it is
Okay.
part of a saying. All right? So that's number one. What about the other ones?
Um, we go over. I don't have it. I, I don't remember anything related with that phrases. Yes. Run into we we talked about this one.
Yes, we already
Number
mentioned that,
four.
so no problem. What about number 4?
Come across. I know that is with something, but I don't know what.
You have the answer in number 3. Uh-huh.
Run into, come across. Uh,
Uh-huh. So give
oh
me
yeah. It's with things. The same.
exactly.
Run into. Nice.
Correct. It's the same, right? It's exactly the same as run into, to find something accidentally or unexpectedly, right? So run into is for people mainly, and come across is for things. We can also use come across with people, but again, if you want to be grammatically all right, correct, it's going to be like that. Okay, run into people, come across things, but they mean the same. Okay, what about number 5 and number 6? Number 5 is not the 3 words, right? This is just conjugated to see if you can see the real phrasal verb. But what do you say about number 5 and number 6? They are very related.
Get up. Uh, I'm not sure, but yeah, well, it's just uh, I don't know if this expression is correct, but it's you can say get up. I don't know of me, like please mm, give me my space, something. Just get up.
Yes, in a particular situation, yes, get off, go away. It is possible. Yes, it is an alternative. In this specific case, it has one more meaning that is more common. It is possible again, all right? It's more common to say, right, go away, right, go away, get off, go away. But get off has one more meaning that is more common than that, and it's related to number 5. And if you realize, number 5 is only get on, but conjugated in the present perfect, right? So what can you tell me about the two of them? Get on and get off. In what situations do you think that you use them? Again, they are related, and the most common meaning that they have is when they work together in a certain way.
Wow, no, you catch me? I don't know.
All right, I'm going to give you an
Um,
idea. For example, right? Do you have a car, Danitza? Do you drive?
no, I
Okay, so
have, no, we have, but I don't.
you don't. All right. So how do you go to your activities?
I took the bus.
You
Um,
take the bus, right?
I took
Uh-huh.
the bus.
So what action do you do with the bus? I mean, right, you're waiting for the bus. What do you do with the bus?
Oh, um, 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 I, uh, I will say on, right? I am on the bus like 15 minutes, and then I ask uh to I don't know if this is the verb like pull over the I don't know. I need to practice this. Um because my no sé si se dice parada así, but yes, it's
Yes.
to
It's to pull over. Yes, pull over. You can say you ask, right, the driver to pull over, because here, right, or in Bolivia, you generally don't have bus stops, right? That's
yeah,
weird. It's a miracle if drivers use bus stops. So you have to make them stop, right? And then you wait until you get right to your destination, and then you make the driver, right, pull over, and then you the
get
bus.
off the
So
bus.
what are those two exactly? First, you have to get on the bus, right? It's incorrect if we say get in the bus. That's grammatically incorrect. Okay, and we don't say get into the bus, get in the bus, or enter. Enter can be okay, but it's not the best option. All right, so get on when you can stand up in the vehicle, when it's a big vehicle, all right, like a bus, a train, a boat, or the plane, right? You get on the bus, you get on the train, you get on the boat, you get on a plane. I mentioned that. I'm missing one,
Mhm.
okay? But if it's a big vehicle, you get on that vehicle. And after that, what do? You get off.
Uh,
All
yeah.
right. It's also the same for vehicles and also for stages, right? You know what a stage is. If you are an artist, you're going to play a song, right? You have to get on the stage, you play the song, and then you get off the stage. All right. So get
Mhm.
on and get off. They always work together because it's when you are going to be on a surface. It can be a vehicle, a big vehicle. It can be a stage, right? Something on which you're going to be there, standing up. All right. And again, when
Okay.
you exit that, when you have to leave that place, you simply get off. Okay, so remember those two, please. They always work together and they mainly work in, again, more than 70% of the time, you use them in that situation. All right, and the one that you didn't remember actually is here. Go over is to review something. Okay, that's also very important that you know. So when you want
Mhm.
to practice for your exam, you can say that
Okay.
you can review, right, some of the topics that you were learning, or you can go over the topics that you were learning. Okay, they are the same, of course, because it's the meaning. All right, so that's go over. So that's it. I don't know if you have any questions about those, so that we can go to the list of several phrasal verbs that we got, Anita. Let me know.
Um, the number five, we mentioned something, or I just lost. Number five, can we please make a little review of this?
Number five, get on.
Yes. O
Yes,
sea,
remember,
okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
this is
Go
get
on.
on. Uh-huh. It's just that this is in the present perfect. Okay, again, it was to create confusion, all right, to see if you recognize this. It's just get on.
Mm,
Uh-huh.
okay.
And remember, right, this is to get on a vehicle or a stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yes.
It's just a
No.
conjugation.
Yes. Prisoners are tricky.
Yeah, they can be. Uh-huh. But again, once you recognize, you know again that all of them can be in any tense, right? I have gone on, right, when I felt like that, or actually we cannot say that, but I have gone on, gone over, or I had run into, right, that person before, right, I had the meeting with you. So that's going to be in the past perfect. Okay, so all of them can have more words around them, so we have to be careful when recognizing them.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a review. Again, this is just to try to remember some of the verbs that we covered in the previous lesson that was inseparable phrasal verbs. We have the definition. We don't have to spend more time over there. This is what you mentioned and what we mentioned together, Danitza. They can be in present, future, or past. Some of them are going to be better for certain tenses, as we said. Right here we have put up with,
Um,
that means tolerate, go
yes.
over, that means review, and run into, or in the past here, ran into, that means, right, to meet someone by accident or unexpectedly. Okay, and again, this is just to show the variations that you can have. Now, you explained this also very well. Separable, of course, they can be separated, but if you want, they can be together, unless again you have a pronoun, right? That's one of the rules we're going to see later on. If you have a pronoun, they don't have to be together. They have to be separated, and they have to put the pronoun in between the verb and the particle, right? If you don't do that with a pronoun that is the object of your phrasal verb, it is going to be incorrect, right? And we're going to see that. And this is something we're not going to cover in detail, all right? Transitive, intransitive. Here, we're only going to focus on how they can be separated. We're going to start with these ideas. Danitza, just analyze. What can you tell me about these three examples and what's happening with the phrasal verb? What are they showing us with these examples?
Mm. They are showing the variations on which you can put the it's particle, right?
Is this one, the car, this word?
No, up.
Or this one? The up, yes, that's going to be particle, correct.
Yes, and that I think the examples are showing you when you can place the particle.
And how can you describe that then? According to these three examples, where can you place the particle? Or even you can explain that better if you say, where can you place the object that is part of the phrasal?
So you can use put the object at the end. So once you have the phrasal verb in I don't know, the phrasal verb is together, those are words are together. Then if you have the noun, all the object, yes, you can put the object between the particle and the verb. And if you want to express via using a pronoun, you have to put the pronoun between the verb and the particle.
All right, yes. When you have a noun, right, actually you can decide, right, if this is going to be after the phrasal verb or in between the phrasal verb, right? But again, if we have a pronoun, it has to be in between, right, in the middle, where it can be surrounded by the phrasal verb. Okay, but this is going to be obligatory. If you have a pronoun, this is the only correct alternative, right? It's never going to be correct if you say the terrorist blew up it, right? That's never correct. That's always incorrect. But again, if you have a noun, you have more flexibility. Okay, let's take that into account because that's going to be actually what they are going to explain here. Let's read this part, please, Danny. It's just what I said.
Okay, very important. If we are to use a pronoun with separate phrasal verbs, we cannot use the pronoun after the phrasal verb. It must be in between the phrasal verb. Example, please wake me up at 6 a.m. Please wake up me at 6 a.m.
Exactly, right? So here it's very obvious,
Very
right?
obvious.
Actually, and this one is like in Spanish, right? Wake up me. In Spanish, you use this object right at the end, and they are even part of the word, right? But in English, it cannot be the case. Okay? But again, if you have a noun, you can do this, right? The one that is in red, you can say, please wake up your sister, right? At 6 a.m. And that's correct. Okay, so again, if the object is a noun, it is correct to use it in between or after the phrasal verb. But again, you have one rule for that we're going to see later on. But if it's a pronoun, it has to be in between, right? Again, remember, if you have questions about that, let me know. But it's just as simple and as literal as that. There's no tricky elements over here. It's always like this, okay? With no exceptions. Now, this is the only situation in which it is not a good idea to place the noun or the object in between the phrasal verb, Danitza. So let's read this, please.
If the object is too long, place it after phrasal verbs not the meeting. Example, we have to put up the important meeting that you told. Yes, we have to put the important meeting that you told me of. It would seem to say we have to put it up.
Exactly, right? Sometimes this one is not an option, right? To say we have to put it off if this is not clear for everyone, right? So if you have to mention this because this is not clear for everyone, it is a good idea to mention it, right? But if it is long, in order to avoid confusion, because the particle is just a preposition, and sometimes if you put a preposition at the end of everything, it can create confusion, right? So in order just to avoid that and to be clear, to avoid misinterpretation, miscommunication, we just have to place it at the end, right? In that case, you simply avoid something that you don't have to, all right, be complicated about. But that's it. All right. Remember the two then main rules. If it's a pronoun, put it in between. If it's a long object, put it at the end or after the phrasal verb. And again, in both cases, in the first one is because it doesn't make sense grammatically, and in this case, it's just because you want to avoid confusion. Okay, there's no number that needs when they say if you have more than 4 words or 5 words, you're going to put it after the phrasal verb. No, there's not a specific rule here. You have to decide. If you feel that what you have is long enough to create confusion, then you have to follow this rule. Okay, but it's going to be up to you. And with that, we're going to start with the list. But I don't know if you have any questions up to this point.
No,
Let me
I
know,
don't have.
please. Okay, so let's take a look again, not at everything because of the time. You can take a look at the complete list on the platform. But with me again, we're going to take a look at some important phrasal verbs that I know that we use more than other ones. Okay, I know this is very important, but you mentioned it. So instead of that, we will have
Mm.
actually no, we're going to also take that into account because it's as common as these two. So these three over here, please, then it's a call something off, cheer someone up, and figure something out. Let's read, please, the definition and the examples that they have.
Yeah. Because something up, cancel. It started to rain 10 minutes before the soccer game, so they call it off. And choose someone up, make a sad person feel happy. My daughter was sad about missing the concert, but I bought her a CD to help cheer her up. Figure something out, understand, find a solution. And could you help me with this? Not for that, I can figure it.
I can figure it out, right? So again, these are pretty common to call off, to cheer up, to figure out. And again, you know that you have that flexibility, right? You can have it in between, you can have it afterwards, but again, it depends how you use these ideas. I believe that they can be used in any tense, all right? But again, it depends on how you're going to structure your idea. I don't have anything else to add because I believe that they are clear. Let me know if you have any questions. If you don't, let's go to our document, please, Danitza, on Google Docs, and let's only write 3 examples. One example for per a phrasal verb that you got, anything that you want to write about it, we check and we continue. Okay, so what do you say? Any questions or can we go to the practice?
I have questions about the practice with those three phrasal verbs.
Uh-huh.
I have to give you an example or a pattern.
Yes, you have to go to Google Docs to our document and you have
Mhm.
to give me what you have to write only one example per phrasal verb. So one
Okay.
with call off, one with cheer up, and one with figure out.
Okay.
Okay, so good. Let's do it then. As you are going to the document and writing the examples, I'm going to use the clock and the stopwatch.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm starting officially with the time. We're going to have 3 minutes more or less, 3 to 4, and we're checking that time. Okay, we have please 1 more minute and we check. All right. So as you're finishing perhaps the last ideas, I'm going there with you to give their review, the feedback, and we continue. All right. So let's read those three ideas, please.
Okay, I decided to call up the meeting because the calculations seem to be incorrect. She always cheers me up, feels sad or depressed. I have to figure out before noon.
Okay, yes, I believe that everything is working good. I want to see what's the suggestion that Grammarly has in the last part. But yes, I decided to call off the meeting because the calculations seem to be incorrect. Yes, cheers me up with the pronoun in between also seems to be good. And figure it out or up. No, oh yes, okay. So here, this is why I didn't realize. All right, so I'm going back to our element. Remember that the phrasal verb danitza is going to be figure something out, right? Not up.
Ah,
So that's why it's with that. All right. So that's the only
yes.
detail. All right. There
Sure.
you go. No worries. So there you go. Again, that was just the particle. But again, in general, the way we're using everything seems to be good. Let's continue. All right. So we have time to practice with more words. If you have questions, let me know. I have no observations. If it's the case, we're just going to continue. In the next part, we have more elements that are important. Some things, again, I want you to know because they are going to be useful in many different situations. And these ones are going to be important, these three. So let's read those three, please.
Okay. Um, give something up. Distribute. Please print 100 copies of this report and give me them out to all the employees. Put something away. Put something in the correct place. Mm. After you're done reading those magazines, please put them away. Oh, put something up. Delay, postpone, procrastinate, procrastinate. I know I should work on this break, but it's difficult, so I keep putting it off.
Good. Now here, you have to be careful with something, right? It's very common to misinterpret put away, right? When people hear put away and they're learning English, they believe put something away is to put it away from you, right? But
Yes.
that's a literal translation, right? Put away means, as a phrasal verb, what you're reading over there. So if you're using your clothes, to put it away, it doesn't mean that you put your clothes right away from you. It means that you have to put your clothes where they belong, right? Go to your closet and you're going to, right? Place them where they belong. And put off, it only has one small difference that actually can be very big with call off. Call off is actually to cancel something because it was not possible, right? But to put off is only to postpone that. I mean, you're going to cancel that temporarily, but later on you're going to look for another alternative. Okay, so it always gives that idea of postponing instead of canceling, because the cancel of call off can be just that it happened and we're not going to have any other meeting after that. You can, but you have to clarify. Okay, but we put off, it's over there. The meaning gives you the idea that it is going to have, let's say, a compensation in a different day or in a different days. All right, so those are the three. We're going to be finishing, I believe, with this. Yes, let's try. Perhaps we're going to have some extra too. Let's do the same, please, Anitza. Let's go to our document and write three examples, right? One for give out, one for put away, and one for put off, please. Okay,
Okay.
let's do it. And in 3 minutes, we'll check.
Okay.
Okay, so we are going there to check. We have some extra seconds, so we are finishing the last details. Please, let's do it. But I'm going there. Okay, you're missing one. Let's finish that one, and let's also write the last one, please. That it's okay. So in 1 minute we check with the last one as well. All right, so let's read our ideas, please, and we'll see if they are okay.
Okay. I finished to print those banners. Please give them out to all the stores. So I don't have any other presentation with our committee, so I will put away my book materials. She doesn't have enough information to continue with her project, therefore she decided to put it off.
Okay, all right. I believe we only have one observation, mainly. Yes, because again, number 2 is working. I just have question with one word. And number 3 seems to be great. Okay, no observations. In number 1, not in the meaning or the way you're using it, because it is okay. Okay, it sounds weird, but it's correct. Give them out to all the stores, right? It means distribute, right? That to all the stores, so it is correct. Okay, but here in terms of punctuation, okay, why? Because in this case, right, we have a comma and we have a family, right? So there is not a problem. Here, yes, also number 3, sorry, I didn't realize. In number 1 and number 3, punctuation. Why? Because this is complete idea, right? I finished to print those banners, complete idea. Then give them out, that's command, that's order, that's imperative. A command is directly a complete sentence. Okay, so do you have a complete sentence? If you have a complete sentence, you cannot divide two complete ideas with a comma, right? Remember, that's going to be incorrect. Only if you have a fanboy, right? But if we don't have a fanboy, it means that we only have two possibilities, right? And they are going to be either to use the semicolon or to use period, okay? And after this, please is going to be the beginning of something that is not our subject, right? Our subject is going to be you and give, but they are together. So they are going to be divided like that. Okay, so please give them out. All right, I'm going to just make them bigger. Sorry, I'm not doing this in a separate place this time, but those two elements over here, and the same in number 3. Okay, and now this is the complete idea, right? Sorry, this is the complete idea. And here, the same. We don't have a fanboy. If we don't have a fanboy, we cannot use a comma. This that you got here, therefore, is a transitional word or phrase. All right? And transitional words and phrases, they can only be divided by period or semicolon. Okay, one of those. it is not going to be good to use a comma. It can be used as a comma if you're going to use it as an interrupter. For example, if you say something like this, but even if you use it as an interrupter, here you need a semicolon. But you can say, right, she doesn't have enough information to continue with her project, semicolon, she decided, comma, therefore, comma, to put it off. Okay, so in between commas, what you did there, and it's okay, but when you're already part of a different sentence like this, okay, but here you need semicolon or period. That's the only possible and acceptable punctuation mark that you can use over there. All right, but that's it. In terms of using the phrasal verbs, I think that it worked perfectly, but those are my own observations in punctuation. I don't know if you have any questions about that to be finishing today. We only have one chart left that it's for tomorrow, and one lesson that is going to be way shorter than this one because it's superlative adjectives. I mean, you know about superlative adjectives, I'm very sure. So we're just going to review this after we finish with the chart that we have left. This is just a list of phrasal verbs that you must know because of Pearson. I'm just going to read them for you tomorrow, and we're going to be sure that they are clear. And then we go to our extra lesson. But I don't know if you have any questions about the phrasal verbs that we covered today or anything else before finishing. Let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions. Yeah, yeah, that's okay.
Mhm. It's clear? Okay, good. That's good to know. So keep practicing. Remember, Danitza, we're not taking a look at all phrasal verbs. You have a complete list. Also, you have even more complete list in the previous document for inseparable phrasal verbs. Don't forget to take a look at those elements. All right. And if you have questions about them, please let me know. And again, always try to use this new vocabulary and material in the examples or in the sometimes paragraphs that we write. Okay, but for today, we're finishing here. We have our last class on Monday. I'm sending the daily poll so you can fill it out, please. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Remember, please, you have also these days to complete everything that's left on Pearson in case you didn't finish. I didn't check Pearson yet, Danitza. So again, it's just a reminder. We have until, if I'm not wrong, it's until Monday or maximum until Tuesday to finish with everything on Pearson. Okay?
Okay.
Good. So there you go. Thank you very much once again. Enjoy your weekend. See you on Monday.
See you. Thank you, Luis.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.